Let's talk about my favorite war film. Fury is a 2014 war film set during the final days of World War II. The story follows Sergeant Don Collier, played by Brad Pitt, also known as War Daddy, and his crew of war-hungry soldiers manning a Sherman tank. Facing overwhelming odds, outnumbered and outgunned, they have managed to survive together through it all. The crew consists of War Daddy, Bible played by Shia LaBeouf, Gordo played by Michael Pena, and Grady played by John Bernthal. With the arrival of a new recruit named Norman, played by Logan Lerman, a clerk typist with no combat experience adds even more tension to the chaos around them. The film certainly does not shy away from depicting the brutality and darkness of warfare, creating a very immersive cinematic experience and the psychological effect that it has on those in combat. Throughout the film, the relationship between War Daddy and Norman evolves. At the beginning of the film, War Daddy sees Norman as a young rookie who needs to be toughened up, as well as the rest of the crew who torments Norman in the beginning. As Norman is forced into the realization that he needs to fight in order to survive, he begins to earn his respect from the crew. In my opinion, I think War Daddy in some ways acts as a father figure to Norman. In a deleted scene, we see War Daddy opening up to Norman about how he drove intoxicated, accidentally wrecking his truck with his girlfriend and younger brother in it, who was coincidentally named Norman. Unfortunately, War Daddy's girlfriend and brother did not survive the truck crash, leaving him broken on the inside ever since then. While it's a great war film, it's also a great film in the aspect of drama and the chemistry between the characters. Must I say, this is a great cast, and each character delivers a stellar performance, making that one of the strongest reasons why I love this film so much. After some epic warfare scenes with German anti-tanks, the Sherman crew clears a desolate countryside town and stops for a break until the next orders are given. They break into an apartment to get away from the chaos that is occupied by two women. War Daddy realizes that they are no threat, and he offers them eggs and cigarettes to show that they can trust him. Norman shares a romantic moment with a young girl named Emma, as it's clear that they are attracted to each other. Shortly after, the rest of the crew finds where War Daddy and Norman had wandered off to. They all sit down and eat together, and in this scene we really get to see the emotional weight that comes with being in war. It feels as if in this scene, the men know that there is no going home. They are permanently scarred from the war, and that doing whatever they can to keep themselves together is vital. Their meal is interrupted when orders are given to move out. As they are heading to take the next town, they get bombed from the air and are forced to take cover. Sadly, the girl who Norman was romantic with was killed during the bombings. Enraged and scared, he's forced to leave with the crew. While out on the countryside, they get shot at by a Tiger tank and lose their other tanks in command. They somehow manage to maneuver around the Tiger tank and hit one of its weak spots, destroying the tank. They head out to the crossroads where they were ordered to go, and the Sherman tank hits a landmine, causing the tank to break down, leaving them stranded there with no mobility. Norman heads up to the hill to take watch, and while doing so, we hear a distant echo of what appears to be singing. Norman soon realizes that it's a battalion of German soldiers headed their way. He sprints back to the tank and alerts the crew of the battalion heading in their direction. While everyone agrees to go, War Daddy decides to stay behind and fight it out on his own. With the crew knowing that he won't make it out alive on his own, they decide to stay with him and make one last stand together at the crossroads. They gear up, and just before battle, they share a special moment together with Bible quoting a verse from the Bible, the book of Isaiah chapter 6 to be exact. Emotional and uncertain of what is to happen shortly, they share a bottle of alcohol, and Norman is given the war name Machine by Grady. War Daddy says that this was the best job he's ever had, and that he loves it inside of the tank. Everyone agrees with him. The scene was very emotional, yet so powerful, and I must say, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The battalion finally arrives, and they make a dent in the number of battalion soldiers. With War Daddy commanding where Bible cannons, and where Norman fires with the Browning, they manage to hold off for a short period of time, putting up one heck of a fight. Running out of the 30 cal ammo, they soon realize that they left ammo on the roof outside of the tank. They throw down some smokes to mask themselves and hold down cover fire while War Daddy grabs the 30 cal ammo. They manage to pull off the stunt successfully, with War Daddy taking a bullet to the arm. While Bible is patching up War Daddy, they share a quick moment with War Daddy sharing a quote of the Lord. It's evident that War Daddy is a religious man, but chooses to keep his job as a tank commander apart from his religion in order to do his job. Just as they're looking for enemies, a Panzerfaust hits the side of the tank, puncturing the side and taking out Grady. Bible cries out and covers him with a jacket as War Daddy says that they're still in this fight. Burning through all their ammunition, they are forced to use their hand weapons and the 50 cal on the roof, which is manned by War Daddy. They make a final stand against the battalion. After Bible sadly is hit point blank, and Gordo shields Norman with his body by covering a live grenade, all who's left is War Daddy and Norman. Taking down as many soldiers as possible, War Daddy takes several shots all across his upper body from a sniper. Forcing War Daddy to go back inside the tank, he tells Norman that he's sorry and that he did his best, insinuating that they are about to meet their end. We can hear Germans climbing up onto the tank as they're about to find their way inside. Norman wants to surrender, but War Daddy pleads him not to. Suddenly, 2 stick grenades are dropped into the tank right next to War Daddy. He tells Norman to escape the tank through the hatch below his feet. Just as he does, the grenades go off, ending the life of War Daddy. While Norman escapes with his life, he's stuck under the tank with Germans all around him, unaware that he's there. He starts digging around himself to try and shield himself, and just as he does, a light shines under the tank. A young soldier spots Norman, and he puts his hands up pleading to let him go. From one human to another, he pretends he doesn't see Norman and lets him go. Several hours pass and Norman wakes up, still under the tank. He crawls back up into the tank and covers the deceased body of War Daddy with his jacket, hugging him in sorrow, but also gratitude. Norman hears the sound of somebody climbing up onto the tank and grabs War Daddy's handgun. The Allies open the hatch and Norman is saved, and they praise Norman for saying that he is a hero. The film ends with the rescue and survival of Norman as he's loaded into a truck. He looks back at Fury as the truck departs the war zone, and we get an overview shot of the tank with the ground covered in bullet casings and deceased soldiers, showing the fight that War Daddy and his crew put up against the battalion. I cannot say enough how much I love this movie. I strongly recommend this film to anybody that appreciates good war films. It's a great piece of work not just as a war film, but as a drama exploring the dark nature of warfare and the effects that it has on a person. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Take care, everybody.